Hello everybody, and I am back with another flip through. So I've recently purchased the Tarot Landscapes deck. I'm really excited about this. I do a lot of like national parks and stuff, and I like the art and those kind of things, and it's kind of reminded me of similar vibes to it. I don't know if my camera's gonna focus, but I'll read the back quick. Every tarot card opens the door to a whole world, inviting the reader in. What does the hermit see from his nocturnal summit? Who awaits the star on the riverbanks hidden in the bushes? We won't just be looking at the individual tarot cards in this deck, we will be entering the very landscapes they evoke or inhabit. A journey of the soul, visiting through the dream state and the imagination of every arcana in the universe of the four suits. Travel through their landscapes, which have more to do with our everyday lives than we could possibly imagine. And they are White Star Libri. I don't think it's gonna pop up. Maybe just slightly there. So if you care for their socials or anything. But yeah, so this is edited by Francesca Mattoni, illustration by Yoshi Marie. I'm very excited about this deck. The bottom, we have the sliding, and then top. So I've taken the plastic off. I haven't really done anything else, so if the deck has plastic, I'm gonna have to grab my knife. That's such a nice box. Alrighty, we are doing good. Oh, we have full color. Oh, and it's not glossy, it's matte. I'm kind of really excited about that. Okay, and then it looks like the major arcana gets full page, and then the suits have these small ones, which I'm a big fan of full page just in general. I know with these tinier books it's a lot harder, so it's kind of not always great. And then there looks like there's a couple of spreads and stuff in the back. Awesome. So that'll be very helpful. Entering the landscape, major arcana, minor arcana, reading and interpreting the tarot. Sweet. It's a thick little book. It's very nice though. Ooh. Oh, this is like, I wasn't expecting this. This has a whole separate box, which honestly I think is a really good idea because the amount of times where you kind of get to know a deck really well, you end up being like, okay, cool, but like, I just want the cards. I don't need everything else that comes with it. Which this size box isn't terrible, but it can definitely, this reduces so much. Like, I think that's great. Okay, so I just took a moment to like flip through the guidebook a little bit more, take some time with it. And one thing I really like about this guidebook, that I noticed, but I didn't like have time to really understand, is that there's a paragraph of information on the card, a positive and a negative keywords though as well. And I really appreciate, if my camera would love to focus, that keywords are given. So if this is your first deck, it's a lot easier to have one or two keywords rather than a paragraph of information to feel like you have to memorize. And it's also a great spot to like pick up and go. And I like that this is on like all of them. The lighting was not working out earlier, and now all of a sudden it's too bright for things. The sun has popped out. So yeah. Let's see if it'll, there we go. So we're looking at the Ace of Cups, and we have all that fun info. And there is a singular, like, not, it talks about 3-card spreads, and then it has an 8-card spread that's like landscapes that's specific to this deck that it's talking about. So, we will start with the major arcana. We have the Fool card. The cardstock's really nice and thick, but it's not super thick. I know if you've seen my Neopets one, that one's got really, really thick cardstock. This one does not have as thick. It's definitely not flimsy though. It's got some like nice heft to it, but it's definitely going to be able to riffle shuffle and everything. We have a dog on the ledge in a beautiful rainbow. And if you're like, hey, is it your camera that's not focusing? It's kind of a fuzzy image to begin with. It's very soft edges, so nothing's going to be particularly crisp this entire video, which is probably going to help me out a little bit because it's going to be a little harder for my camera. So you're going to have to go by the text most of the time to see if I'm in focus, which I'm not currently. It's a little better. So yeah, that's about where we sit right now. So yeah. See if this will help. Because now that the sun came out, I have a little bit more lighting. We have the Magician. High Priestess. The Empress. These are going to invoke such a different vibe to what everything else has, I think. The Emperor. I think it's very interesting that we have it's almost telling that we have like a dark side with a spider under it for the Emperor, that like we have all of this like traditional things happening, and there's sometimes an underside to that. The things that we want to hide away of tradition, we sometimes forget about. I think this deck is going to be really fun to combine with other decks and shuffle with other decks, because it's going to offer landscape for a lot of the cards that I own that have animals or people in them. This is going to offer more of a place for things. I'm curious to see it. I always like to pull the Lovers and the Devil card and see if they have similar art. That's such a pretty... I can't quite tell if it's stuck or if it's just there and like the city in the background. Strength of having to be a bird in the city. Hermit, our lone wolf. Ooh, Wheel of Fortune is a galaxy photo. Well, picture, excuse me. Injustice. Fish up river. Assuming it's probably salmon or something. That's usually what I think of. Ooh. Oh, and this has so many ways you could look at this. This could be like fish in an aquarium, or this could be like the magic of like under the water, and like, because it gives very why the Little Mermaid. Why that didn't come to me, I don't know. But this gives it Little Mermaid vibes, like the castle and everything. Here we have the Death card. We have one turtle that's about to get snapped up. What an interesting... Death would be a very hard card, in my opinion, for this soft landscape, and I think they did it really well, because sometimes death is so imminent. Temperance is, oh my goodness, a wolf and a lamb. You guys, I'm so excited about this card showing up in readings. This is such an amazing card. Okay, so the Devil and Lovers do not have any similarities, which is fine. We didn't see a couple in the first one, so I wasn't assuming we would. What a fun devil. I feel like there's some folklore about deer and like the not deer. I think that's the thing where it's like that deer that you've seen that it's not a deer. This is very much giving that kind of vibe to it of be careful. Your curiosity might get the best of you, I feel like, in this card. You need to be aware. Alright, the Tower. Oh, I'm excited to read about this one. Because this looks like a place that's collapsed, regrown. And I believe that's an eagle at the top. I don't know if it's going to sit and focus on it, but it looks like an eagle from where I'm at. And so this kind of rebirth that's happened. Yeah. Star. We have a firefly! I love fireflies. I love fireflies so much. So this is probably up there for one of my favorite cards as well. Alright, here we have the moon. What a pretty... We have a froggy. Little frog next to the moon. This is one I'm really actually... I'm not usually excited to read the books. I don't read most of them, which is why I do these, like, just like, okay, let's like look at the cards and like let's go for it, because I'm not gonna read the books. It takes so much work. I'm going to guess these are bunny ears in the sun, which the sun does have like really positive things, but there's also usually a baby on it, and I feel like rabbits are really known for reproducing pretty rapidly. So if they are bunny ears, I'd be curious if that's part of the nod towards the baby that's traditionally on the art. Here is Judgment. This is a beautiful card. Yeah. Kind of remember where you came from. The world being hugged by a polar bear? Oh, I love that. That's so wonderful. Oh, my heart. Okay, so what I'm gonna do with the 4 suits is we're gonna separate them into 4 piles and get them going into like a pile of swords and everything. And we're gonna look at like all the aces at once, all the 2s, all the 3s. So I'll be right back after I've set that up. Okay, so I've turned on our big yellow light again, so hopefully that helps a little bit, and I brought us down. You're gonna have to see the little feeties of this. That's just gonna have to be part of it. But here we are. So traditionally, the swords are air element, wands are fire, cups are water, and pentacles are earth, and I think we're starting to see that. And I am curious how they're gonna do the wands, because I like that the Ace of Wands has a tree with the rings, because you can kind of, you know that this can constantly keep growing. You can constantly keep going. There is, even in trouble, all this growth around it that's happening. I always think, my first thought for it was like a prairie being burned and then all of the new regrowth that comes because of it. So I think that's a really fun, that's what it gives me, at least. That's the way I think of it. And a glacier for like the victory, the power that comes with the Ace of Swords, and like, you've done it. I think there's a very interesting thing with that, of the glacier, because I think this is a deck, I'm just realizing, that would be a very fun reversal, because you reverse the Ace of Swords and all of a sudden you're drowning. You feel so lost. Oh yeah, this is gonna be a really fun one to mess around with reversals and stuff as well. Okay, don't need this to be like 45 minutes long, so I'm gonna try to move along here. All right, so here are the 2s. We have a unicorn! Oh, I love unicorns. I need more unicorn decks in my life. So this is a wonderful surprise. Unicorn. A 2 of Cups. This makes me think of the last unicorn and the idea of like being alone, which is not usually the 2 of Cups. It's usually talking about like other people. But I think in this it's far more about like being attracted, and it doesn't have to be to another person. You can be attracted to yourself. Again, the last unicorn has a thing of how perfect the unicorn knows that they are. They're aware that they're this amazing, wonderful thing. And I think that's kind of, and that this card is giving that, which is really fun. A raccoon holding way too big of an egg. The balance of it. Oh, this is so clever. This is such a clever, setup. And this is, I'm so used to this kind of look being like the world card, that I think this is actually a really wonderful example for with the 2 of Wands of like on an adventure. Going places, discovering things. We have a bird here, and I don't recognize the bird. Not that great, I'm afraid. And so, yeah, and it looks kind of stuck. Its feet aren't buried or anything, but it is kind of looking like, where do I go next? It's kind of got a look of puzzlement of what now. Okay. Something has gone. And like multiple things have gone. We are losing glaciers. We are trapped alone. Something has died. The polar bear not having red is somewhat interesting, and I don't know if that was an artistic choice to not have a bloody polar bear. Because it could be that the polar bear ate something, or it could be that like a killer whale, like an orca, came by and ate something nearby, and now blood is surfacing. Could be that this, this bear lost its mate, its cubs, whatever. So this is a very grieving card. Like this is a very upsetting card, which is the Three of Swords. It's an upsetting set of card, or an upsetting card usually. We have various, I guess, spirit animals. Might be how some people would interpret. Yeah, like you can see visions in the smoke. I'm trying to move faster. I will sit and chat about every single card, and I'm trying to not. Yeah, I love these cards though. Oh. Yeah, this like rebirth of things getting destroyed and regrowing. We have mushrooms growing on some of these dead logs. Within death, there is still beauty. Okay, now we are on to the fours. These cards are beautiful. I really love these cards. I'm now realizing I guess I don't connect with fours usually as much. Which is an odd thing. I think we have 5 cows there, which is an interesting choice on a 4 card. We have 2 pairs of ducks on this one, which I may have miscounted, and it might actually have been 4 cows on the other one, but I like that we have this motion, but also this resting point. And it could be even of depending on other cards, maybe people are on 2 different sides of things. You want to go to the same place. There's still the goal, but you both have to go about it in different ways. So on to the 5s. Here's the sword. Yeah, this is also, I would highly recommend, I think with this deck, to lay out each suit, take time with it. I think that's going to be really helpful. We have a badger! Oh. I buy a deck that has landscapes on it, and I'm so excited about every single animal that's in it. Not mad at that. Oh, this one's got a mouse. There's a little mouse. We have a cracked cup. Yeah. And we have a mouse out in the open, so that there's loss there. The greenery, the shrubbery, everything that used to be there is gone. Oh, a koala! Again, we have a really beautiful depiction of things being gone and regrowing. So here, I think the anxiety of what happens, how long does it take for everything to come back, is really, really shown in this card. Alright. Okay, there are beautiful blue butterflies on the 6 of Wands. I really love these. I need to look more into symbolism of various things. Often butterflies are transformation and change and that kind of thing. But I'm sure there's a lot more meaning to specific types of butterflies. And that's something I need to look into more and figure out. But I like the balance of this is where people live. There's also this huge amount of territory where it's kind of untamed. The butterflies roam, probably some deer roam. all of that. Here's the Six of Swords. Got a little boat. Beautiful bird. Again, I don't know which one. I think this is coral reefs underneath. Lots of growth in the sixth cards. So, or the sixes, which is a normal thing. So, interesting for the Six of Cups. I would never place this as a Six of Cups because there's like no water in this image. But I like that we have the wagon. And a swing for the innocence of, you know, childhood that is often depicted in the Six of Cups. Yeah, generosity and charity. Giving to others. We have an anonymous donor. There's a little, it looks kind of like a flying squirrel up in the corner of this, of that door. We are going on to the sevens. Oh, ooh, there's so many pretty ones here. Okay, so we are going back to a kangaroo, Australia. A bit more desert in this one. Yeah. Interesting. Typically the seven is about feeling like you've been done wrong. Somebody betrayed you, deceived you, somebody lied to you, something like that. And so I'm curious to read this one a bit more. An eclipse. A full sun eclipse. And one lone penguin. Can you keep going? Various sea life creatures. Super pretty. I think this is what we all imagine the sea to be. This beautiful scenic view. Yeah, this is another one that feels like it's got a good story to it that I want to look into. Putting the eggs here, a bench with like nothing around it, of like how much people have traveled to see this area. Alright, now we are on to the eights. Eight of Swords. A dark night. This is a very, yeah, feels lonely, which is nice. Feel alone. We have a beautiful chameleon that is like mimicking the colors of the fireworks, which is so interesting. Typically the Eight of Wands is like all about traveling and movement, and this is like a moment of pause. And it might be that you are seeing something new. Yeah, this has so many interesting interpretations, I think, for it that I'm very interested in. So here we have the Eight of Cups. Again, most of eights deal with like changing and typically changing your location and stuff. So we have like, this feels far more about traveling than I think the Eight of Wands did. Pentacles. This is usually growing in material and stuff. So we have a bee collecting honey for the hive. All right, so now we're into the nines. Typically, we are seeing the fruits of our labor here. There's the Nine of Pentacles. I'm not fully sure. I believe this is a camel in an oasis. That's what we are seeing here. Which is a great, like, satisfaction piece. Here's the Nine of Wands. Beautiful fireflies depicted at the bottom. This is the Nine of Swords. Yeah, we have a bunch of bats and stuff, so I think this is kind of that, it's that ooky spooky. Here is the Ten of Swords. What's happened here? What have we lost? It's a very dramatic scene of something being gone. Ten of Wands. New adventure awaits. 10 of Cups. I'm not fully sure what those animals are, except that it's a black cat and I think a puppy. Possibly a pig, to be perfectly honest. I can't quite tell. But that I always like the 10 of Cups. I think there's like a overall happiness to it, but there's also like this found family. So it almost looks like they're at the end of like a little family video that's about 2 animals hanging out and doing stuff. And then the 10 of Pentacles. We have a dog and a rabbit. Oh, this is so fun. Okay, so we're on to the pages. I'm gonna move our numbers out of the way here. It's on to the court cards. So we have a bird in the Page of Swords. We have a rodent, I'm assuming, of some sort. Not particularly sure. It's small, though. Looks almost like a chipmunk, even. Holding it next to, like, a dandelion. One little fish in the middle of the ocean. The Cups, and a tortoise for the Pentacles. Which is fascinating because tortoises live so long, and then often pages are discussing younger kind of things. It's like joy to like rediscover or redo something or start off something new and learn a new skill, and I think that's really fun that we have an older tortoise to like show the importance of slowing down, I think, within that, which is really cool. All right, and we're going to continue the birds within the Knight of Swords. We have a falcon diving. That hasty, gotta go for it, in the Knight of Swords is really there. The Knight of Wands has a bobcat in the snow. Very different from our Page of Wands, which was a really bright summery scene. The Knight of Cups is a singular manta ray all by itself, just kind of floating through. And the Knight of Pentacles, this card is gorgeous, is an elephant. And this beautiful sunrise or sunset that's happening, which of course could give you 2 different things. So I love that. In the Queen of Pentacles, we have this bear. The Queen of Cups, we have a little water tornado with a whale stuck in the middle of it. Lots of emotions happening, and it's that calming sense that I think the Queen of Cups brings. There's like no... There's usually so much calm with a Queen of Cups that this is like a different way to... This deck just like really pushes interpretation, which I really like. Queen of Wands, a fox den in the roots of the tree. Could be that, you know, the fox passed away and grew a tree. And the Queen of Swords is an owl. Yeah, that's such a fun... Oh, that's so cool. Continuing the birds and the swords. The whole swords family was birds. I don't know which kind of bird this is, though. Keeping a good eye. That clear thinking. We have the King of Wands, a white tiger in a jungle. The King of Cups is the octopus. And our King of Pentacles is a gorilla. A very large one from the perspective of this tree. All right. And that is all of the cards. I am going to give a quick shuffle. I have pulled up a get to know your new deck video, so we will proceed to do that as well and get to know this landscape deck after I get a couple shuffles in. Okay, so I've shuffled a few times. I'm probably going to like lay these out and then pick cards. We are doing a 6-card spread called Get to Know Your New Deck. It's a little video clip. I think there's like 3 or 4 spreads or something in this. But I have a pause on the one I want. And this is from the user on Pinterest, Soul and Spirit. And it looks like they've commented to some of this stuff that was commented on it, but that's, you know, from 2 years ago. So who knows how old this pin is. I don't see a date on it. I don't remember if Pinterest does. There was some bowing with this deck that I noticed. Some of these cards like don't want to like be next to each other due to the bowing that happened in the box. So if that is something that you need to consider it. Because I riffle shuffle though, bowing doesn't bother me. Because I'm going to be bowing it even more in either the opposite direction or more into the same direction, and I tend to have that come up a lot. Let's do a couple of shuffles here. So let's see if I can get a little bit of cards here. You're not going to be able to see all of them. Trust me, they are all here. And I haven't looked at them. But so our first card is going to be Tell Me About Yourself. The second card is What are your strengths as a deck? Third, what are your limits as a deck? This one. That was a hard... Nope. Second underneath one. Combo? Combo. We have 2 cards at once. Okay. What are you here to teach me? This one. How can I best learn and collaborate with you? And then what is the potential outcome of our relationship? This one. Okay. All right. I'm going to put those aside, and I'm going to start, I don't know. Yeah, let's start with the first 4, I guess, since our 3 here is the same, and then we'll just kind of slowly shift them as we go. So tell me about yourself. We have the 5 of Pentacles. So I am going to use the guidebook. I usually let the the deck use its guidebook to tell me things. I'm trying to not go in with any preconceived ideas. Well, I should say, I have preconceived ideas, but I want the book and what it's been designed to tell me to be able to come through. I'm just going to be reading the positive, like, quick little things. So, essentiality and forgiveness is what it wants to tell me about itself. So I think this is a deck of hope. And that's very wonderful. So that's awesome. No, I love that. And on my own personal notes, this is usually a 5 of Pentacles is usually a sign of worry and anxiety a little bit. Typically something has just devastated you and now you're like, oh, but that little bit of green in there is no, it's not all bad. There is hope. And I think that's a wonderful thing to have this deck tell us, is that yes, there is good things to happen. So this is the strengths card. Tell us about your strengths. Oh, the 2 of Pentacles, a great balance deck. That's usually, it's typically the balance is my first thing that comes to mind with the 2 of Pentacles. Flexibility and adaptation. Oh, so it likes to be presented a challenge probably and wants to make it work. So limits as a deck would be the Queen of Swords and the 10 of Wands. The 10 of Wands, sense of duty, ridding yourself of useless weight. And the Queen of Swords, logic and perception. Okay. Sense of duty, ridding yourself of useless weight. Which, I mean, if you wanted to go for negativity, incapacity to delegate, collapse, or pride, cruelty. So this could be, I think though, it's more of, it's not particularly because it wants to be so, it's not going to be very brutal. I don't think. I think it's not going to be very cut and dry. It's going to be a very, don't know what the word I want is, but I think it's gonna tell us more than we necessarily I don't know what the word I'm trying to think of is. So I'm going to continue, and then if it comes to me, it comes to me. So, what are you here to teach me? The Eight of Cups. Search for truth and letting go. Yeah, I don't think this is a deck that wants to pull punches. But I think it's going to have a silver lining to everything. It's just not going to give you the doom and gloom of everything. And I think for me as a reader, that's good to know that I'm not... The responsibility of, I think, telling the future can be very hard for this deck. And it doesn't always want to be the only... I think this is really a deck that would do so well in a scenario with other decks where it's not just by itself trying to tell you stuff. I think it'll be excellent in a multi-deck stack of, with 2 or 3 other decks. I think that'll be really wonderful. But yeah, it's here to teach me search for truth and letting go. Okay. To keep looking for the truth. That makes sense. Yeah, to adapt and everything. So, our 6 of Pentacles here. How can I best learn and collaborate with you? Equal exchange and goodness. Yeah, I think that makes sense with this card or this deck, that if what I pour in is what I'm going to get. That's why it's such an adaptable deck. It's hopeful, it's understanding, it's welcoming, but I'm going to get what I give. So if I come in, I think, doing wishy-washy readings, I'm going to get wishy-washy answers. This isn't a deck that's going to punch me in the face even though I wasn't prepared for it. This is a deck that's going to be like, we're going to read the room, and if you're not in, I'm not in. And I think that's a really great thing. And our last one, what is the potential outcome of our relationship? We have the 8 of Pentacles. Dedication and study. Ooh, I'm excited for that. That seems like a really fun, this could be a really good personal studies deck. Interestingly, we had no major arcana. So which makes sense from what we're seeing, is this keeps kind of telling me that its limits as a deck is it really doesn't want to tell you big things. It wants to deal with the little things and help you with comfort and make you feel better that things are going to get better. I don't think it's against having the major arcana show up. I think that this just doesn't need it to, for the most part, and it doesn't necessarily want to. I think it will when it needs, but I love that the hope of letting go, there is so much wonderful stuff here, and it deals a lot with the Pentacles, which most of my decks really lean away from. I have my Owls deck that's been a little hit and miss of where it wants to be. It's kind of everywhere, but it has leaned into the Pentacles, I feel like, the last few readings. But this is very interesting that this card really leans into, which I suppose shouldn't be surprising, it's a landscapes deck, that it really leans into that earth element and wants to lean on it. This is a deck, I think, that wants to be leaned on and shared with, but it doesn't want you to come at it with my life's fallen apart necessarily problems. This is a really good general reading kind of a thing, because it's going to have always that underlining of hope. It's going to be able to help and do a lot of things, and it's not like it can't do big stuff, but I think it's just going to be, the more time I put into it, the stronger this deck is going to be, and the stronger I'm going to be. This Wands and Queen of Swords combo I think there's a lot for me to learn from this, and how to best know where this deck stops. So I think that's going to be the big thing for me in this. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, you guys. If you have a landscapes deck, I would love to hear how your intro to your new deck went. What is your favorite card you saw today? Is this a deck you're interested in getting, possibly buying? Would you get it? Is this a pass for you? I'm super excited about this deck. This is going to be one that I think is going to be really in my arsenal and get used a ton. I'm so pumped about this deck. So this was far more exciting than I thought it was going to be. So thank you so much for joining me. You guys all have a wonderful and magical day. And remember, the magic comes from within.